So I got home today and I discovered the best thing a gardener can discover in their garden. Okay, this is the most exciting thing. Oh my gosh, this is the most exciting thing. I left this stuff overwintering. And look, it's coming back. Look at the spinach. Look at spinach. Look at the chard. I actually tasted it, and it tastes good. A little bit of bug damage, but that might have happened before I closed it up. The most exciting thing for a gardener is this. Look at that dirt. Nobody but a gardener appreciates this. Now, granted, this is years of cultivating, but this is beautiful. And this is really exciting. Oh man. Just brings joy to my heart. The girls are also loving the wet, muddy weather because they're finding all kinds of good treats today. And they're doing my work for me. Oh, this is glorious. It's just glorious. The chickens are out scratching through the mud. It's a little breezy. And today we're going to talk about soil blocks. And I just covered my camera in diatomaceous earth. Now, soil blocks are basically, for those of you who are new to all of this, soil blocks are basically blocks of soil that are not encased in a plastic tray or a plastic cell or a plastic flower pot. You make them with a soil block maker, which kind of forms the block, and they come in very different sizes. And if you buy the standard soil block maker, it creates a little dibble in the top for you to put your seeds in. From what I discovered, you don't have to cover the seeds in soil. So I'm going to try that out. Some people start in the small blocks and then they transplant them into bigger soil blocks. It makes it easier for you to transplant things that would undergo transplant shock when you put them in the garden. So things like root vegetables, when you don't want to damage the roots. I guess you could use them for anything. So what we're going to do is this. I'm going to show you how to make some soil blocks. This is all new to me, so if it's new to you, we'll figure it out together. I'm going to go gather my supplies and then we'll get started. I've got a tray that I just got from buying seedlings, but it's open at the bottom so that the soil blocks can get watered from underneath. And I'll put them in a solid planting tray and I'll just rest the soil blocks up there. I notice there's some bigger holes in the middle, so I'll have to be strategic where I put the soil blocks. I have an old box top for mixing. I guess you could use a plastic bin if you have it. I don't happen to have one around. And I did purchase a real soil block maker. I'm going to experiment with making my own soil block maker because this was about $30. It's the bigger size. All right, it's a 2-inch square block, and we'll see how it does. And of course, we have some seeds. Okay, I'm just going to sift it, see if there's any other big chunks I can get out of here, sticks and things that might get in the way of making a really good soil block. I'm going to make a really muddy mixture. I think I used a 1-to-1 pre-mixed seed starter and compost, just some plain generic compost that I happen to have, and a little extra perlite in there to hold the moisture. All right, so this is looking pretty good. If I made a soil block, it would really stick together. There's a couple of techniques to use with this. You kind of walk it back and forth when you're filling your soil block maker so that you get the edges filled as well. Now, I'm not perfect at this yet. I have not perfected this method, but you keep pushing down until you see the water and the mud start squeezing out at the top. It means that the block is full. Now, we'll see how this goes. The other night when I made it, pushing down on the soil block maker while you release the soil blocks helped them to stay together. And it helped me a little bit more handleable. Is that a word? Handleable. And then I just put it in there. Okay, that one worked out better than the first batch. All right, so now I'm pushing down on this while lifting up so that the soil blocks stay intact and that dibble is made. I'm actually getting better at this every time I try it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use up all this dirt so that it doesn't go to waste, and then I'll put the seeds in and I'll show you what happens next. I'm going to put 2 in each hole because you can multi-sow beets, and I'm going to leave them totally uncovered and see how it goes. They're probably not the most professional looking soil blocks, but they're going to do for now. I'm going to take them down to my seed starting shelf, and I'm going to put a light block over them, and we'll check back on them in a few days and see what happens. Okay, so here are the soil blocks we just made. These, remember, have beets in them, so I'll leave them covered till they germinate. And earlier in the day, I did some soil blocks with spinach in them. It's so exciting to see those first little shoots come out. I don't know, today is full of those moments only gardeners understand. So down below in the description is an article that was very helpful for me in finding out some information about soil blocks. It had a whole list of pros and cons to them. The pros being things like you don't need the cell trays. It's much more cost efficient when you don't have to buy that stuff. The cons were things like because they have to stay moist to stay together, that they are more susceptible to growing mold, so you need to watch that. Once they germinate, that cover will come off, and I'll put them in a place with good airflow, and we'll see if that takes care of the problem. So I'm going to go and enjoy the rest of this glorious afternoon. The sun is setting. The chickens will be putting themselves to bed pretty soon. I've got a hot cup of coffee. I'm just going to shed the week right here on my back stoop. So thanks for hanging out. Have a great weekend, and happy gardening, everybody.